The next time you're making a sandwich or tossing a salad, you really need to pay attention to what you're throwing in there, because slicing and eating just one raw onion, it actually alters the velocity of your blood, and I mean rapidly. We aren't talking about some vague health benefit that takes months to materialize. We're talking about a direct, immediate alteration to your vascular mechanics.
Okay, check this out. This circulatory shift happens in under 30 minutes. Not eventually, not over weeks or months, but literally in minutes. Most of us eat onions almost every single day, right? But we have absolutely no idea this rapid transformation is happening inside us. It's one of the most common foods on the planet, usually just treated as background noise on a plate. But this 30-minute timeline, it proves it's so much more than just a garnish.
What we're really looking at here is a measurable vascular event. It is incredibly fast and highly active. We've kind of been trained to think that the most powerful biological interventions have to look dramatic or taste exotic or come in some expensive supplement bottle. Meanwhile, a highly active compound is sitting right there in almost every kitchen, totally ignored, triggering real-time physiological responses in the background.
So let's break down how this works in this explainer. Mechanism 1, quercetin and the endothelium. Inside that everyday onion is a deeply misunderstood compound called quercetin. This is exactly the stuff those pricey heart health supplements try to package up and sell you, but your body can get it straight from this basic vegetable. And quercetin has a highly specific target, the inner lining of your blood vessels. Now that inner lining is called the endothelium. It's a thin layer of cells, sure, but it is not just a passive tube that blood flows through. It's an active, dynamic tissue. It is constantly making decisions, literally second by second, about how wide or narrow your blood vessels need to be, directly controlling how your blood moves throughout your entire body.
So, the crucial part here is this three-step biochemical chain reaction. Step 1. The quercetin from the raw onion reaches those endothelial cells. Step 2, it acts as a trigger, forcing those cells to release more of a signal called nitric oxide. And Step 3, that nitric oxide acts as the precise biological signal that tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and widen.
To really visualize this, just picture a garden hose that's been pinched halfway shut. Water still comes out, but it's sluggish, right? And there's high pressure building up behind that pinch, straining the hose itself over time. Well, that's your vascular system under stress. When quercetin helps release nitric oxide, it's exactly like someone finally letting go of that pinch on the hose. The blood flows freer, calmer, and with significantly less strain on the arteries themselves. Suddenly your heart doesn't have to work nearly as hard to push that blood through.
And hey, we aren't just guessing here. The Journal of Nutrition plainly states that dietary quercetin measurably improved vascular function by increasing nitric oxide availability. This exact sequence has been documented and repeated across multiple clinical research groups. It is a proven biological fact happening right inside your arteries.
So why does this actually matter day to day? Well, have you ever felt an unexplained afternoon fog? Or maybe your hands and feet always seem just a little bit cold? Your vascular function works silently in the background, but when blood vessels are tighter than they should be, flow gets restricted to the places that need oxygen most. Every single cell, from your brain down to your fingertips, depends on blood reaching it on time. When that flow is restricted, you really feel it downstream as just sluggishness.
Moving on to mechanism 2, sulfur and platelet modulation.
Shifting our focus from the walls of the blood vessels to the blood cells themselves, we find that onions aren't just delivering quercetin. When you cut into one and physically break open the cell walls of the vegetable, an entirely different secondary mechanism kicks in. We're talking about sulfate compounds. Yes, these are the exact same compounds that act as a biological irritant and make you cry while you're chopping. At first contact, your body treats them as an irritant for sure. But once those specific sulfur compounds hit your bloodstream, their role completely changes. They become a powerful modulator for your blood cells. 30%. Once in the bloodstream, these sulfur compounds cause a dramatic, measurable drop in what's known as platelet aggregation by up to 30%. Now, platelet aggregation is just the medical term for how much your blood cells clump together. By reducing this clumping by nearly a third, these compounds actually help prevent the kind of dangerous blockages that strain the cardiovascular system.
And again, we can look straight to the clinical literature to back this up. A peer-reviewed cardiology journal reviewing allium vegetables, which, includes onions, documented this exact reduction in platelet aggregation. Look, platelets are supposed to clump to save you when you're bleeding, right? They form a barrier. But when you aren't bleeding, too much clumping just makes your blood thicker and slower than it needs to be, which can lead to clots. This mechanism actively prevents that dangerous internal clumping.
All right, so how do we actually use this?
Let's get into the 4 clinical rules of activation.
We understand the physiological theory now, but you can't just eat an onion any way you want and expect these results. To actually synthesize these benefits in your body, you have to follow a strict biochemical protocol. Rule number 1, you must eat them raw. Applying heat, like by sautéing or cooking the onions, actually chemically destroys both the quercetin and the sulfur compounds before they ever reach your blood. If you only eat onions cooked down until they're soft and sweet, you are losing almost all of the vascular benefit. To keep the compounds intact, you've got to add raw onion to your salads, sandwiches, or use it as a topping after all the cooking is completely done.
Okay, rule 2 is all about selection. You need to choose red or yellow onions over white ones. This isn't just a chef's flavor preference, folks. This is pure chemistry. The deeper the color, the higher the quercetin content. Those protective plant compounds are literally packed into the darker skin. When you're in the produce aisle, you need to start treating the color of the onion as a literal nutrition label.
Rule number 3 is about absorption. Quercetin is fat-soluble. That means your body absorbs significantly more of it when it's eaten alongside a healthy fat. So pairing your raw red or yellow onion with something like olive oil, that isn't just a tasty recipe choice. The olive oil acts as a biological delivery system, carrying a much higher volume of that active compound directly into your bloodstream where it can actually get to work on your endothelium.
And finally, rule 4. This one actually surprises a lot of people. You need to wait exactly 10 minutes. After you chop your raw onion, let it rest on the cutting board for 10 minutes before you eat it. That short, mandatory resting window gives an enzyme inside the onion the exact amount of time it needs to fully activate the sulfur compounds we talked about earlier. So just cut it, let the chemistry finish its work for 10 minutes, and then eat it.
So, to quickly summarize the information we've walked through in this explainer, here is your cellular health protocol. 1. Eat them raw to preserve the compounds. 2. Choose red or yellow to maximize your quercetin. 3. Pair with a healthy fat like olive oil to ensure blood absorption. And 4. Wait 10 minutes after chopping to activate that sulfur. You see, you're no longer someone who just eats onions because they taste good. You are actively applying a biochemical protocol.
Which leaves us with this final thought. A small shift in perspective completely changes how you shop, how you prepare your meals, and how you view the humble ingredients already sitting in your kitchen. The next time you're standing in the produce section, just staring at a pile of onions, are you going to reach for the same one you always grab out of sheer habit? Or are you going to grab the one your blood actually needs?